Hey there, brilliant people. So today I want to talk a little bit about integrity and music and harmonics and how they all work together. So when I'm talking about integrity and music and harmonics, I'm talking about, of course, energy, because when we're talking about music in the sense of harmonics, we're talking about frequency, and our whole universe is built out of frequencies, waves, photons. It's all music, if you like. So what does music have to do with our integrity? Well, if you've done some soul seat work, which you might have learned about through the soul's brain or through the soul seat work on the Fractology website, the thing is that it will teach you that how to go into your own soul seat, which is here, and find your own resonance, find your own frequency. Now, when you can do that, it actually tells you a lot about how personal or spiritual development goes from an energetic point of view. So, from an energetic point of view, what happens is we start with, when people are very unconscious, it's like their energy, it's a whole lot of like white noise and static, and there's it's just all these different random frequencies and signals in there. As we start to clear that up, as we start to get complete with some of those things, some of that noise starts to drop out, and we are then able to occasionally get the signal, a little bit of clear signal through, even though there's still quite a bit of interference with the signal. And that's kind of when we move from being unconscious to codependent, because we still tend to rely on those things that enable us to hear our own signal quite clearly. But then as we move from there into independency, we've dropped out more and more of that interference, more and more of the white noise, until we just have a really clear signal. And it's just our frequency, it's just our resonance, and that's it. And the more that we work on that, the signal becomes clearer and stronger. And actually it eventually becomes what is called coherent signal. Now, a coherent light, like a laser, is like coherent light versus, this ring light that I'm sitting under here, or any normal sort of torch light, that's sort of not coherent light. So when light is not coherent, it's like all the, they might have a number of different frequencies, and they're all sort of going in different directions, and they're out of step, like the waves of energy. So because of that, they're sort of constantly bumping into each other, and that causes, even though that light is putting out a lot of energy, a lot of that energy is used up in the way that the light is just bumping against each other. So that changes once you have coherent light, because in a coherent light, all the little waves are going up and down at the same time. And so because of that, coherent light is a lot more powerful, even if it's not really actually putting out any more energy. It's just that because of the alignment of that energy, it's a lot more powerful. So as you move through independency, and it's just your own resonance, it's just your own signal, that starts to become more and more powerful, particularly as it starts to become coherent. Now, the thing is that once your own resonance becomes a clear enough signal, well, then you can actually use that signal as an organizing principle. Now, what does that mean? It means that your own resonance in your space it becomes what is called the fundamental. So what that means is, at that point, you can start to bring other resonances into your space, like the resonances of, your nearest and dearest, the resonance of your partner, the resonance of your children, the resonance of, other members of your family or friends or, whoever. But when you bring that into your space, it doesn't interfere with your signal. It just enriches your signal. So think of an orchestra. Like when an orchestra is tuning up, it's just all this awful noise because it's not organized. It's not harmonic. So a musical scale or a harmonic scale, it actually has a mathematical relationship between the different frequencies, but that mathematical relationship ensures that there is a stable relationship that allows all the different frequencies to line up. If you're interested in this, let me know and I can go into this in more depth. But essentially what it means is that when we get to independency and we get a signal that is strong enough, then we can actually allow other resonances back into our space. And rather than it sort of messing our signal up again because it sort of disorganizes our signal and everything ends up back in white noise, it means that actually it just starts to enrich our signal. So it goes from like having a flute solo to a flute and a violin, and to a chamber orchestra, to a full orchestra, whatever. So the music becomes richer and richer, but it's clear. Now the interesting thing, of course, is that like in my space, my resonance would be the fundamental, and in my space, that fundamental would line everything up, so that your resonance in my space would be the harmonic to my fundamental. But in your space, your resonance would be the fundamental and my energy would be the harmonic, or somebody else's energy would be the harmonic. So learning to sort of understand a little bit about harmonic theory and how it relates to interdependence and therefore our capacity to actually stay in our integrity even when we're dealing with the world and even when we're supporting other people to be in their integrity. So there you are. That is how harmonics and music actually supports our integrity. So go and enjoy your own resonance, and until next time, remember that you're brilliant.